Is it hard to access affordable, healthy food? Then listen carefully. Darrell Addison, an African-American inventor, has patented a process for growing food on demand. He called it Torpedo Pot. Torpedo Pot is a fully automated flower pot that gives you control over your plant's environment. All you do is add soil, seeds, and plants to the flower pot and watch it grow. Yes, Torpedo Pot grows the rest. Visit www.torpedopot.com.
So 6 years after Laquan McDon was shot in the back by former Chicago race soldier Jason Van Dyke, they say McDonald's family and local activists are still seeking accountability for McDonald's death. They say yes, the family is seeking federal charges. That's Tracy Hunter. He said Laquan McDonald's grandmother said hours before Jason Van Dyke that was released from state prison 3 years earlier than expiration of his original sentence. Now, Van Dyke was released from Taylorville Correctional Center on February 3rd, 2022, after serving only half of his nearly 7-year sentence. Van Dyke was granted an early release due to good behavior. So he was convicted in 2018 of second-degree murder and 16 counts of aggravated battery, one for each bullet he fired at McDonald's. Say in January 2019, Cook County Judge Vincent Gahn sentenced the former police officer to 81 months in prison. At the time, Gahn described the shooting as a tragedy on both sides, and he decided the 16 shots were all one act, and Van Dyke should only be sentenced on the second-degree murder charge, which meant that Van Dyke's sentence could range from probation up to 20 years in prison. Now, I say a year after the shooting, it said the dash cam video of the night that McDonald was killed on October 20, 2014 was made public after a court order. Now, I said the video showed McDonald's final moment that he seen walking in the middle of the street armed with a knife until Van Dyke pulled up and shot him in the back 16 times. The other officers had been following McDonald without engaging him before Van Dyke arrived on the scene. They said justice have definitely not been served and has never been served from the onset of this particular case, said Mark Clemens. He's an activist and a member of the Chicago Torture Justice Center. Said the day Van Dyke was released from prison, activists stormed the Dirksen Federal Courthouse in protest. They said with Van Dyke serving time for state charges, a growing chorus of activist local officials and McDonald's family are demanding U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois as they file a federal civil rights charges. Say Cook County State Attorney Kim Fox said that the sentence that was put down for Jason Van Dyke does not meet the crime. And say if there's an ability to do something on the federal level, then by all means something should be done. And say after nearly 7 years removed from the night of the shooting, Sonny Thatch, managing attorney with Justice Court in Chicago, is doubtful federal charges will be filed. He said, I think there's a general reluctance to file again, back to my first point, after the individual has been charged, tried, convicted, and served his sentence, and then has been released. It said Thatch also says that because the state did issue an 81-month prison sentence for Van Dyke, the chance of the federal government stepping in to do similarly are also unlikely. He said, though there are exceptions, this does, in my mind, trigger the same principles behind double jeopardy, where you're not to try the same person for the same acts. Now, I say, of course, a petition online went up calling for the federal government to charge them. Now, let me tell you something. If it was a black man, they'd easily do it, okay? Once again, I'm gonna beat this in y'all head. I'm planning to, because you really got to understand where you're living. There's one set of laws for black people, one set of laws for white folks, okay? And it's always played out in front of you. It's played out. And none of you can deny that. None of you can. If you black, you cannot deny this. And if you are denying this, you're being delusional to yourself, and you know it. Now, McDonald's grandmother said that she's still seeking justice. Whatever happens, I'm going to keep trying until this man gets convicted. And said we need every able-bodied person to help us with this healing. Now, the way they're going to say is, well, we sentenced him to 81 months, but the parole board let him out in 3 years or so, right? 3.5 years. And usually, from what a lot of brothers say, when you come up on your first parole, you usually don't get it. You may get your parole the second time, maybe. But usually maybe a third or fourth time. Many brothers, they don't even get their parole the first time. No, they didn't want him in jail in the first place, okay? Public pressure did that. And the judge gave them 7 years. They know what they were doing. Like, look, you're going to have to do at least 3 years. Look, we're going to go ahead and let you out. So just to keep your nose clean in there, we'll keep you in protective custody. As soon as your parole come up, we're going to let you out. I mean, trust me, they run the system. They run the system. You don't. That's why you always asking for justice. It's because they run the system. And I told y'all, as long as they run it, it's going to run that way. It's been running that way for hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay? They've been running it. See, I understand the reality of where we living at. I understand the reality of who's running things. That's like going to ask Satan to treat you right. Most people in their mind say, I wouldn't go ask the devil to treat me right because I know that's not going to happen. Okay? So there you go. It's the same thing. Only people that got God in their heart going to treat you right. And we look at the history of America, that the killing of black people is justified in this wicked system. It's justified. You look at how you got to act to get one race soldier in jail. You got to call. Look at the George Floyd situation. You got to have an uprising that cost them $1 billion to put one race soldier in jail. One. This is why I told y'all, the country of America itself is not a bad country. It's really not. America has so much potential to be great and greater. It really do. But the reason why it can't be that way, especially for the black man and black woman in this country, especially you, it's the people that's running it. Your country only good is the people that run it. I'm telling you that. Look at even on the job. When you have a good CEO, a good supervisor, the job goes one way. Everybody loves the job, right? You have a bad supervisor, bad CEO, what happened? Everybody hates the job. Y'all have had those experiences. That's why the Bible teach that when you have a good king, the people rejoice, and when you have a bad king, the people are in sorrow. And the problem with us as black people, we have experienced the bad king. We experienced the bad leaders. This is why we perpetually in sorrow. This is why we always stressed and oppressed. It's because we dealing with that. And then it's not even that they just bad, is that they have a perpetual hate for us and they show it. And the problem with a lot of black folks is some of you so delusional that you just don't get it. You really think these group of people that's running the country are going to actually treat you right. They're not. And I get it. Listen, I get it. That's why I expect it. And the reason why I say I expect it, because I know who they are. They're not going to change. That's like trying to tell a dog don't bark no more when the dog been doing that ever since its existence. Well, the same thing with these white supremacists. They've been hating us from the beginning. They're not going to stop no time soon. So this is why I always tell us, okay, we know that. What is our position on that? What is our position? Because just asking them, begging them for justice, it ain't going to happen. Look at the Amber Geiger situation. She got, 10 years? Killed both of John in his house while this man's eating ice cream. They only got 10 years. They got brothers that's locked up longer than that on nonviolent crimes, 30 and 40 years. Brothers been locked up, getting out every day. Done 30 years and find out he didn't do it. But these dudes actually killing black people, and they get less time than that, and they get right out. Y'all really need to think. Yeah, really. And like I say, I don't really go really deep with a lot of y'all in how I think on some things. I just move the way I move, right? Because a lot of y'all not really ready how I think. I'm talking about on a lot of things because it's going to jolt you how I think. I'm talking about speaking into black American people. It's going to jolt you because a lot of y'all just not really ready for that. You know, and some of you know what I'm talking about. You realize it, but that's why I say I don't even waste my time telling a lot of you that. You know, at least not on YouTube I wouldn't, because you wouldn't receive it. So why waste my time? But let me know what you think about this story here. You know, I hate this happened, but this has been happening for years. This has been happening for years, that black people do not get any justice. And like I said, I've been reporting on this stuff at least for 10 years. I'm personally tired of it. Just even the whole thing. I am. I'm tired of the whole thing. I get tired of it because nothing changed. It's the same thing day in and day out.